Welcome back, guys. This is Finally Fixed Furniture. Today we will be working on a bad previous repair. Now this repair was probably done by a delivery driver or a really bad technician. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is carve out that old repair and the damage itself. So when this crushed corner happens, what happens is everything gets kind of lifted up. So we're going to go ahead and carve all that out. You see that white right there on the very edge? That is like a white crayon. That's usually what delivery drivers or some technicians try to do a quick repair with. See that carving out right there? Just taking all that out, kind of leaving it real deep and shallow. Getting the rest of that out. And once we have everything out, we're going to go ahead and put in some thin glue. So I'm putting in this thin glue because underneath that wood veneer is like a compressed cardboard. And when you try to apply burn-in or a Bondo, it doesn't really hold. So once I put this thin glue in, I'm going to go ahead and activate it with the spray activator. And you see it bubbling up, and that smoke. The smoke is very powerful fumes, and if it gets in your eyes, it will burn. That glue will also burn your skin. Okay, now I'm going to cut away that bubbled up hard glue. I have to level everything out. I'm actually carving it a little bit more shallow than the surface, the level surface. Alright, once I have that done, I'm going to go ahead and sand it down with 80 grit sandpaper. Now I'm just like leveling everything out, making sure there's nothing popping up, trying to make it level with the table. Alright, and now I'm going to blow it out with some compressed air, make sure all that sanding dust is out of there so the burn-in can latch on really well. Okay, now I'm going to apply a second coat of glue. That's just going to get any holes that the sandpaper might have left. Then I activated that. Alright, now I'm going to go to sand again with 220. I'm using 220 because I don't want to do too much damage with that 80 grit. Blowing it out again. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and start our burn-in. I'm using a white burn-in stick. See me dripping it down there, so that area is really porous. So you'll see me use the corner of the burn-in knife to kind of dig it in there. I want to make sure that burn-in is all the way in and trying to get rid of any bubbles. Okay, now I'm going ahead and apply and build. So I'm going to let it drip on there. I'm going to let it harden. So I'm pressing it up with my fingers. Leveling out, let it harden, apply some more, shape with my fingers again. I guess I don't. Just leveling it out, just building and shaping, That's all I do when I do a burn-in. Oh, I do use my fingers, okay. Build, shape. Alright, now we're flattening everything out, make sure that everything's nice and level. And now we do that, we're going to go ahead and do a wet sand. With this wet sand, I'm using 400 grit and wax wash and a sanding block. Woodshop 101, you can't get a level surface without a sanding block. Okay, I'm wiping all that residue off. I'm going to go to blow it out of the grain too. And make sure all that's out. Okay, now I'm going to burn in the texture. So if I would have just left it like that, you're going to see the burn-in because that's going to be perfectly flat without that grain texture. So now I have to match that grain texture, kind of dig in my knife into that burn-in. The lines right there. Alright, there we go. Okay, we're going to do a nice little light wet sand with 400 again, just to kind of take down whatever got pushed up when I was burning in that grain. Now we're going to go ahead and spray some color on it. So sometimes before I put the sealer, I'll go ahead and put like a nice base down. So right now I'm spraying on some almond base lacquer, and that's kind of like a primer for painters. This base it's like an enamel, so it will do some sealing, and I do a mixture of this and sealer. But first I put this layer, and it kind of tells me how much I need to level out after I sand it, and I just keep on building. Okay, now I'm going to spray heavy body. Now with the heavy body, it dries a lot slower, but in my opinion, it's a lot stronger. So I like to put it as my first coat of sealer, if I have the time. Okay, when that dries, it's going to dry nice and dull. So we're going to go do another wet sand with wax wash and 400 grit. See what's coming off and what's level and what's not. So that dark spot that's popping up, that just shows that it wasn't level. You can kind of see where my line sinks in between the burn-in and the wood. So we're wiping off the residue, blowing it off again. Okay, we're going to spray on some regular sealer now. Just kind of speed up the process here. Some more almond base for that sealer dry. Okay, right now I'm going to use a heat gun. I didn't put it as one of the steps because not everybody has a heat gun. You do have to be real careful with these. You can damage your finish. Okay, spraying on another layer sealer. When that dries, or heating it up again to dry. Okay, now I'm going to do a wet sand with water and 800 grit. So this water, it's just sometimes when you use nothing but wax wash, it can leave like an oily substance underneath your finish, which can cause your finish to crack. So I like to use water. It's kind of like that last wet sand, because I can make sure I get all the oil off and all the... I can still do a wet sand. Blow it off, wipe it off, blow it off. Okay, I'm going to do another base of almond. A lot of almond base colored lacquer in this video. Okay, now it's a heavy coat of sealer. Kind of tells me where I'm at. Let's see how it's going to sink in once it dries. Looks pretty good. Use a heat gun. And so you could damage it. What I'm saying is that you can actually cause bubbles. There you go. Be careful not to have bubbles in the finish. And once it starts bubbling, your finish is going to start chipping. It's just going to set you back. So you really have to know how to use a heat gun, and it just comes with experience. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and start drawing in the grain. And I'm using an extra dark walnut brown. It's like a really dark brown. So instead of a black, it's a dark brown. So what I'm doing here is I'm coloring the crevices of that grain. Kind of like those kind of the deep lines, the the bulky lines. Now I'm doing this before I even match the color, so you can see how it's more yellow than white, because I'm gonna throw the white toners on and some other toners, and that's gonna kind of dull down that grain. You see how the grain looks really dark and pronounced, so it'll kind of blend in and match the current grain that's on there right now. So I went and got and put white flat, just little light sprays. Now I accidentally messed up, so I'm wiping it off with some lacquer thinner. Replacing that grain. Alright, lightly spray the white flat. It's kind of matching the color a little bit. It's a little too white. Lightly sand with 800. So whenever I'm spraying, you're gonna have this overspray, and you see me covering the where I'm spraying with sandpaper. That gives me a line, but not a pronounced line. I'm not having it laying straight on the wood, or else you're gonna see a perfect line. So I'll just spritz it with some gray wolf. This is a real dark toner. It's kind of a dark gray. So I'm just doing a little bit there. When I get the big droplets, I try to wipe them off as fast as I can with my hand. And now you'll see me do the 800 grit sand in between. It's because every time I'm spraying, I'm creating a real rough surface. So I'm trying to keep it smooth at the same time. And kind of blending in that overspray dark color. Okay, now we're spraying on some sailcloth. That's like a white toner. Kind of a white base too. It's off-white. That's really what the color is. It's already getting closer. I do a nice light sand. Kind of blend it in. Make sure it's a nice smooth surface. Alright, now filling in the grain again. Trying to get that line right there on the edge. Alright, now I'm spraying on a mixture of flat white, sailcloth, and almond to kind of match the color. Then I'm just adding some more grain. This time I'll be adding some like softer grain in between those big dark lines, and some of that edge, the dark pronounced edge. And I'm not, all you're seeing me work on is the top. I'm actually working on the side right there too. Okay, now I put on a heavy coat of that pre-catalyzed sealer, and that's going to kind of tell me where my color really is and where my grain really is after it dries. Okay, see how it looks? We're close, but we're still not there. So right now I'm filling in the light grain, kind of matching the color a little bit more with that pencil too. A little light grain. Kind of smearing it with my finger as well. You can do that with the pencils. Okay, and after that, the final step is spraying on a nice heavy coat of satin pre-catalyzed lacquer. Sorry, I almost said sealer. And the result is, I wish I would have got a farther shot. Just going to show you how I got it blended in, but I got a close shot instead. our next video, guys. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.